Ben Rodriguez wiped the sweat from his forehead as he checked the cargo manifest one more time. 300 containers of medical supplies, 20 cases of communication equipment, and 15 boxes of emergency rations. Everything was loaded and ready for transport to the Outer Rim colonies. His cargo ship, the Star Runner, hummed quietly in the loading bay of Station Prime. "Rodriguez," called Captain Hayes from the dock office. "Got a priority delivery for you." Ben walked over to the captain's desk. Hayes handed him a data pad with new coordinates and shipping details. "Diplomatic supply drop," Hayes explained. "Planet Velthera. They need these items delivered to their ceremonial complex by tomorrow morning. The payment is triple your usual rate." Ben looked at the coordinates. Velthera was far out on the rim, but the money was too good to pass up. His ship needed repairs, and this job would cover everything. "I'll take it," Ben said. "What's in the cargo?" "Ceremonial items, decorative materials, and some kind of special fabric," Hayes replied. "The Veltherans are having some important celebration. Just drop it at the coordinates and get their signature." 2 hours later, Ben was flying through deep space toward Velthera. He had never delivered to this planet before, but the job seemed simple enough. Drop the cargo, get paid, and head home. The Star Runner cruised smoothly through the star-filled void. Ben was halfway to Velthera when the solar storm hit. His instruments went crazy as charged particles from a nearby star bombarded his ship. Warning lights flashed red across his control panel. The navigation system started showing error messages. "Come on," Ben muttered, trying to fix the system. "Not now." He worked for an hour, rerouting power and resetting circuits. The ship kept flying, but his navigation was completely wrong. The coordinates kept changing on his screen. Ben knew he was still heading toward Velthera, but he could not tell exactly where he would land. The storm passed just as Velthera appeared on his view screen. The planet was beautiful, with purple oceans and silver continents. 2 small moons orbited close to the planet's surface. Ben could see several large cities connected by gleaming transport lines. His damaged navigation system locked onto the strongest signal from the planet's surface. Ben assumed it was the ceremonial complex he was supposed to find. He guided his ship down through the atmosphere toward a large collection of white stone buildings surrounded by gardens and fountains. As the Star Runner touched down on a smooth landing platform, Ben could see crowds of people wearing bright-colored robes. They were all looking at his ship with great excitement. Some of them were holding flowers and banners. Ben put on his formal delivery uniform, a dark blue jacket with gold trim that all cargo pilots wore for diplomatic deliveries. He checked himself in the mirror. His uniform looked professional and clean. He grabbed the cargo manifest and headed for the ship's exit. The moment Ben stepped outside, the crowd began cheering. Hundreds of Veltherans surrounded his ship, all of them talking at once in their musical language. Ben could not understand what they were saying, but they seemed very happy to see him. The Veltherans looked almost human, but their skin had a slight silver tint, and their eyes were larger than human eyes. They wore beautiful robes made of shimmering fabric that changed colors in the light. Many of them had flowers in their hair and jewelry that sparkled like stars. An elderly Veltheran with a long silver beard approached Ben. The old man wore a robe covered in gold symbols and carried a staff topped with a glowing crystal. "Champion from the stars," the old man said in accented universal basic. "You have come at last. The prophecy is fulfilled." Ben blinked in confusion. "I think there's been a mistake. I'm here to deliver cargo to your ceremonial complex. Are you in charge of receiving deliveries?" The old man smiled and nodded. "Yes, yes. You bring the sacred items for the wedding. Come, the princess awaits." Before Ben could explain that he was just a delivery pilot, the crowd lifted him up and carried him toward the largest building. The structure was made of white stone that seemed to glow from within. Tall towers reached toward the sky, and beautiful gardens surrounded the entire complex. Ben tried to protest, but no one was listening to him. The Veltherans were too excited, singing and dancing as they carried him into the building. Inside, the walls were covered with murals showing stars and planets and strange symbols. Crystal chandeliers hung from the ceiling, filling the halls with soft light. They brought Ben into a huge circular room where hundreds more Veltherans were waiting. In the center of the room stood a raised platform covered with white flowers. On the platform was a young Veltheran woman wearing a dress that looked like it was made of moonlight. The woman was beautiful, with long silver hair and kind eyes. She looked at Ben with surprise when she saw him, but then she smiled and nodded as if she recognized him from somewhere. "Princess Kira," the old man announced, "the champion from the stars has arrived. The wedding may begin." Ben's heart stopped. Wedding? He was supposed to deliver cargo, not get married. He tried to step forward and explain, but the old man raised his staff, and the crystal on top began to glow brightly. "Wait," Ben called out. "There's been a mistake. I'm not whoever you think I am. I'm just a cargo pilot." But the old man had already started speaking in the Veltheran language. The words echoed through the chamber as hundreds of voices joined in. Ben could not understand what they were saying, but it sounded like some kind of ceremony. Princess Kira stepped down from the platform and walked toward Ben. She moved with grace and dignity, her dress flowing around her like liquid silver. When she reached him, she took his hands in hers and spoke quietly. "You are afraid," she said in Universal Basic. "Do not be. The stars have brought you here for a reason." "But I don't understand," Ben said. "I'm supposed to deliver supplies. I'm not supposed to marry anyone." "The old ways cannot be changed," Princess Kira replied. "When the champion from the stars arrives for the wedding, the ceremony must happen. This is our law." The old man approached them carrying 2 crystal rings that glowed with inner light. He spoke again in Veltheran, and the crowd responded with more singing. Ben realized that some kind of binding ceremony was taking place, but he could not stop it. Princess Kira took one of the rings and placed it on Ben's finger. The crystal felt warm against his skin and began to pulse with a soft blue light. Then she held out her hand, and Ben, not knowing what else to do, placed the other ring on her finger. The moment both rings were in place, a bright flash of light filled the chamber. The crystals in the rings began to glow even brighter, and Ben felt a strange tingling sensation throughout his body. The crowd cheered louder than ever. The old man raised his staff and spoke in Universal Basic. "By the ancient laws of Velthera and the power of the twin moons, Princess Kira and the champion from the stars are now bound as husband and wife. The prophecy is complete." Ben stared at the ring on his finger. The crystal was still glowing, and he could feel some kind of energy flowing through it. He looked at Princess Kira, who seemed calm and accepting of what had just happened. "How long does this last?" Ben asked her quietly. "Until the twin moons complete their cycle," she replied. "In your time measurement, about 6 months. The binding cannot be broken before then. This is our way." Ben felt dizzy. 6 months. He was supposed to be back at Station Prime in 2 days. His cargo ship was still sitting outside, and he had no idea how to explain this to Captain Hayes. The crowd began to move toward a set of large doors at the far end of the chamber. Princess Kira took Ben's arm and guided him along with them. "Where are we going?" Ben asked. "To the celebration feast," Princess Kira replied. "Then you will be shown to your quarters in the palace. Do not worry, Ben Rodriguez. I heard you say your name to the High Priest. We will figure out this situation together." As they walked through the doors into another magnificent hall filled with tables of food and more celebrating Veltherans, Ben realized his simple cargo delivery had turned into something much more complicated. He was married to an alien princess on a planet far from home, and he had no idea what was going to happen next. The ring on his finger continued to pulse with soft light, reminding him that whether he understood it or not, his life had just changed completely. He looked at Princess Kira walking beside him and wondered what kind of person she really was, and what being married to her was going to mean. One thing was certain, this was not the quiet cargo run he had planned. Ben woke up in a room that looked like it belonged in a fairy tale. The walls were made of smooth white stone that glowed softly in the morning light. A large window showed the palace gardens where strange purple flowers bloomed under the light of Velthra's twin moons. Both moons were still visible in the pale pink sky. He sat up in the enormous bed and looked at the crystal ring on his finger. It was still glowing, proving that yesterday had not been a dream. He was really married to an alien princess, and he had no idea how to get home. A soft knock came at the door. "Enter," Ben called out. Princess Kira stepped into the room wearing a simple blue dress that sparkled like starlight. She carried a tray of food that smelled wonderful. "Good morning, husband," she said with a small smile. "I brought you breakfast. We need to talk." Ben felt strange hearing her call him husband. "Thank you. Please, sit down. I have a lot of questions." Princess Kira placed the tray on a small table and sat across from Ben. The food looked similar to human food, some kind of bread, fruit, and a warm drink that tasted like honey. "First, I want to apologize," Princess Kira said. "I know this situation is not what you wanted. The High Priest believes you are the champion from our old stories, but I can see you are just a man who came here by accident. Can we undo the marriage?" Ben asked hopefully. Princess Kira shook her head. "The crystal rings cannot be removed until the twin moons complete their cycle. This will happen in about 6 months of your time. Until then, we are bound by ancient law." Ben ate some of the bread while he thought about this. What does being married mean here? What am I supposed to do? "You are now a member of the royal family," Princess Kira explained. "You have a title and a place in the court. But there are people who are not happy about this." "What kind of people?" Princess Kira looked worried. "Some of the council members believe you are a fraud. They think you are trying to steal power by marrying me. Others believe the old prophecy is real, and they expect you to solve all our problems with magic powers." Ben almost laughed. "I don't have any magic powers. I fix broken cargo ships and deliver packages. That's all I know how to do." "That might be more useful than you think," Princess Kira said quietly. Before Ben could ask what she meant, the door burst open. 3 Velthran men in elaborate uniforms walked into the room. They looked angry and official. "Princess Kira," the tallest one said in Universal Basic. "The council demands to see the so-called champion. There are questions that must be answered." Princess Kira stood up quickly. "Counselor Vex, you should have requested an audience properly. This is very rude." "Rude?" Counselor Vex laughed coldly. "What is rude is bringing a stranger into our royal family during our planet's darkest hour. Some of us believe this man is a spy or worse." Ben stood up too. He did not like the way these men were looking at him. "I'm not a spy. I'm just a cargo pilot who got lost in a solar storm." "A convenient story," said another counselor. "How do we know you did not plan this? How do we know you are not working for our enemies?" "What enemies?" Ben asked. The counselors looked at each other with surprise. Counselor Vex turned back to Ben. "You claim to be the champion from the stars, but you know nothing about our situation. You do not know about the Dominion fleet that waits at the edge of our system." Ben looked at Princess Kira. "What is he talking about?" Princess Kira sighed. "There is much I have not told you yet. Our planet is in great danger. The Corvan Dominion wants to conquer Velthra, but they cannot attack us directly because of our defense systems. They are waiting for our planet to die on its own." "Die?" Ben felt cold suddenly. "What do you mean?" "Our planet's core is failing," Princess Kira explained. "Deep inside Velthra, the energy that keeps our world stable is growing weaker. Our scientists believe we have less than 1 year before the planet becomes uninhabitable. Counselor Vex stepped closer to Ben. This is why some of us hoped the prophecy was real. The champion from the stars was supposed to save our world. But you are just a lost human pilot. Maybe he can still help, Princess Kira said firmly. Humans are known for solving problems in new ways. Ridiculous, Counselor Vex replied. Our greatest scientists cannot fix the core problem. How could one ignorant human succeed where they have failed? Ben felt anger rising in his chest. You don't have to insult me. I may not understand your science, but I'm not stupid. Prove it, challenged another counselor. Tell us how to save our dying planet. I can't tell you that right now, Ben said. But I could look at your data and see if there's something you missed. Sometimes an outsider can see solutions that experts cannot. Counselor Vex laughed. The arrogance of this human amazes me. Princess Kira, surely you can see that this marriage is a mistake. We should dissolve it immediately and send him away. The law does not allow that, Princess Kira said coldly. And I believe Ben deserves a chance to prove himself. If he can help us save our world, does it matter whether he is the champion from prophecy or just a clever human? The counselors argued among themselves in rapid Velthoran. Ben could not understand their words, but their tone was angry and worried. Finally, Counselor Vex turned back to them. Very well. The human may examine our data about the core problem. But if he cannot provide useful answers within 3 days, we will petition the High Priest to find a way to end this marriage. The royal family cannot afford to be weakened by a useless outsider during our planet's crisis. After the counselors left, Princess Kira sat down heavily on the bed. She looked exhausted and sad. I'm sorry about that, Ben said. They really don't like me. They are afraid, Princess Kira replied. Our people have lived on this world for thousands of years. The idea that we might have to abandon it terrifies everyone. Some of them blame me for marrying you instead of a Velthoran noble who might have more resources to help. Ben sat down next to her. Tell me more about the core problem. Maybe I can actually help. Princess Kira looked at him with hope in her eyes. Really? You would try to save our planet even though you are trapped here against your will? Of course, Ben said. I may not want to be married, but I don't want to watch an entire world die. Besides, if Velthora is destroyed, I die too. Princess Kira smiled for the first time since the counselors had left. Thank you. I will take you to our science center this afternoon. Our best researchers can explain the problem to you. The science center was a huge building filled with computers and strange machines that Ben did not recognize. Velthoran scientists in white robes showed him holographic displays of their planet's interior. The core was a swirling mass of energy that looked like a miniature star. The core generates the magnetic field that protects our atmosphere, explained Dr. Ren, the chief scientist. It also powers our cities and weather control systems. But the energy is fading. We estimate complete failure within 10 to 12 months. Ben studied the displays carefully. What have you tried to fix it? We have attempted to inject new energy using our most powerful generators, Dr. Ren said. We have tried to restart the fusion reactions with chemical catalysts. We have even considered moving our population to underground cities, but without the magnetic field, radiation from space will eventually reach us there too. Ben looked at the data for hours. The Velthoran technology was far more advanced than anything humans had, but their approach to the problem seemed very direct. They kept trying to add more energy to the core or control it with their existing systems. What if the problem is not lack of energy? Ben asked finally. Dr. Ren looked confused. What do you mean? On my cargo ship, when the engine starts losing power, sometimes the problem is not fuel. Sometimes the problem is that energy is not flowing efficiently. The system gets blocked or unbalanced. The core is not a ship engine, Dr. Ren said with a slight tone of annoyance. No, But maybe the principle is the same, Ben replied. What if your core has enough energy, but something is preventing it from flowing properly? Instead of adding more power, maybe you need to remove whatever is blocking it. Princess Kira leaned forward. That is an interesting idea. Have we looked for blockages in the core's energy pathways? Dr. Ren thought for a moment. We have focused on energy levels, not flow patterns. It would not be difficult to scan for blockages. It's worth trying, Ben said. In human engineering, we always check for clogs and blockages before we assume the system needs more power. As they walked back to the palace, Princess Kira seemed more hopeful than she had all day. If you are right about this, you might really save our world. I hope so, Ben said. But even if I'm wrong, at least we tried something different. Princess Kira stopped walking and turned to face him. Ben, I want you to know that I am grateful you are here. I know this situation is difficult for you, but you are already helping my people by offering new ideas. Ben looked at her thoughtfully. Despite everything that had happened, he was starting to like Princess Kira. She was intelligent and kind, and she truly cared about her people. Maybe being stuck here would not be as bad as he had thought. Thank you for giving me a chance to help, Ben replied. I may not be your prophetic champion, but I'll do everything I can to save Velthra. As they continued toward the palace, Ben did not notice the shadowy figures watching them from behind the science center. Some members of the court had decided that the human was too dangerous to leave alive. 3 days later, Ben was working late in the science center when Dr. Ren burst into the laboratory with exciting news. You were right, Dr. Ren said, his eyes bright with amazement. We found massive blockages in the core's energy channels. Crystallized particles have been building up for centuries, slowly choking off the energy flow. Ben looked up from the computer display he had been studying. Can you clear the blockages? That is the problem, Dr. Ren replied. The blockages are too deep inside the core for our equipment to reach. Our energy beams cannot penetrate that far, and anything physical we send down there will be destroyed by the heat and pressure. Ben nodded thoughtfully. What about using multiple smaller disruptions instead of one big blast? Like breaking up a dam with many small explosions instead of trying to blow up the whole thing at once? Before Dr. Ren could answer, Princess Kira ran into the laboratory. She looked terrified. Ben, we have to go now, she said urgently. Counselor Vex has convinced some of the court that you are a threat. They are coming to arrest you. Arrest me? For what? They claim you are sabotaging our research to help the Corvan Dominion, Princess Kira explained quickly. It's not true, but they have guards with them. Heavy footsteps echoed in the hallway outside the laboratory. Ben could hear angry voices speaking in Velthran. Is there another way out of here? Ben asked Dr. Ren. The emergency exit leads to the gardens, Dr. Ren said, pointing to a door at the back of the room. But they probably have guards there too. The voices in the hallway were getting closer. Ben could see shadows moving past the frosted glass windows of the laboratory door. Princess, come with us, Ben said to Kira. If they think I'm a traitor, they probably don't trust you either. Princess Kira nodded. The three of them quickly gathered the important research data and headed for the emergency exit. Ben pushed open the door and looked outside. 2 guards were standing near the garden path, but they were facing away from the science center. Follow me, Ben whispered. Stay low and quiet. Ben had learned to move quietly during his years working on cargo ships. Sometimes pirates tried to board ships in space, and pilots had to know how to hide. He led Princess Kira and Dr. Ren through the garden, using the large purple flowers and crystal fountains as cover. They almost made it to the palace when one of the guards spotted them. The guard shouted in Velthran and started running toward them. More guards appeared from different directions. Run, Ben told the others. Get to the palace. But as they reached the palace courtyard, they found more guards waiting for them. Counselor Vex stood in the center of the courtyard with a dozen armed soldiers. Princess Kira, Counselor Vex called out. Step away from the traitor. We do not want to harm you. Ben is not a traitor, Princess Kira replied firmly. He has been helping us find a solution to save our world. His solution will not work, Counselor Vex said. Our scientists have already tried everything. This human is wasting our time while our planet dies. Ben stepped forward. Actually, your scientists just found something important. There are blockages in the core's energy channels. We can clear them if we work together. Counselor Vex laughed coldly. More delays and false hope. Guards, arrest the human. The soldiers started moving toward Ben, but suddenly the ground began to shake. A low rumbling sound came from deep underground. Everyone in the courtyard stopped moving. What was that? Princess Kira asked with worry in her voice. Dr. Ren pulled out a small device and checked its display. His face went pale. The core energy has dropped another 10% in the last hour. The planet's magnetic field is failing faster than we predicted. The rumbling came again, stronger this time. Some of the soldiers looked nervous and stepped back. How much time do we have? Ben asked. Maybe days instead of months, Dr. Ren replied quietly. Counselor Vex looked angry and scared. You see. The human has made everything worse. His meddling has accelerated our planet's destruction. That's not how science works, Ben said firmly. The core was already failing. We just discovered how badly damaged it really is. The ground shook again, and this time some of the palace windows cracked. Fear showed on everyone's faces. I have an idea that might work, Ben continued. But I need Dr. Ren's help and access to your industrial equipment. More lies, Counselor Vex said. Guards, take him away. As the soldiers moved forward again, Princess Kira suddenly stepped in front of Ben. Wait. What if he is right? What if his idea can save our world? If we arrest him and our planet dies anyway, we will have thrown away our only chance. The human is not our only chance, Counselor Vex argued. What other options do we have? Princess Kira demanded. Tell me one other plan that might work. Counselor Vex was quiet for a moment. The other soldiers looked at him, waiting for orders. I will make you a deal, Princess Kira said to Counselor Vex. Give Ben 12 hours to try his solution. If it does not work, you can do whatever you want with him. But if his plan succeeds, you will accept him as my husband and as a member of our royal family. The ground shook again, more violently than before. Some of the guards fell down, and cracks appeared in the courtyard stones. Counselor Vex looked around at the damage. Finally, he nodded. 12 hours. But if he fails, the human will be exiled from Velthera forever. Ben felt relieved but also terrified. Now he really had to save an entire planet in half a day. What is your plan? Dr. Ren asked as they hurried back to the science center. On cargo ships, when we have a clogged fuel line, sometimes we clear it by sending a series of pressure pulses through the system, Ben explained. Each pulse breaks up a little bit of the blockage until the whole thing clears. The core is not a fuel line, Dr. Ren pointed out. No, but maybe we can create the same kind of effect, Ben said. What if we use your crystal technology to generate a series of harmonic vibrations? Instead of trying to blast through the blockages with raw power, we could shake them loose with precisely timed sound waves. Dr. Ren stopped walking and stared at Ben. That is brilliant. Our crystals can generate exact frequencies. If we calculate the right harmonic pattern, we might be able to resonate the crystallized particles until they break apart. They worked through the night, calculating frequencies and building a device that could send harmonic pulses deep into the planet's core. Princess Kira helped by coordinating with other scientists and gathering the materials they needed. The mathematics are incredibly complex, Dr. Ren said as dawn approached. We are basically trying to shake loose particles that are buried under thousands of miles of rock and metal. Human engines use harmonic balancing all the time, Ben replied. The principle should be the same, just on a much larger scale. As the twin moons set and the sun rose, they finished building their device. It looked like a large crystal surrounded by metal rings and connected to powerful computers. They carried it to the planet's main power station, where it could be connected to Velthra's energy grid. Are you ready? Princess Kira asked Ben. The ground had been shaking all night, and several buildings in the city had collapsed. As ready as I can be, Ben replied. Either this works, or we all die together. Ben activated the device. Immediately, a deep thrumming sound filled the air. The crystal in the center began to glow bright blue, and pulses of energy shot down through the planet's crust toward the core. For the first few minutes, nothing happened. Then the planet's shaking began to change. Instead of random tremors, the ground started vibrating in a steady rhythm that matched the harmonic pulses. It's working, Dr. Ren said excitedly, watching his instruments. The blockages are starting to break up. The harmonic pulses continued for 3 hours. Gradually, the chaotic shaking stopped, and the planet's vibrations became smooth and regular. Finally, Ben shut off the device. Check the core energy levels, Ben said to Dr. Ren. Dr. Ren looked at his readings and smiled broadly. Energy flow has increased by 60% and is still rising. The magnetic field is strengthening. Ben, you saved our world. Princess Kira hugged Ben tightly. Thank you, she whispered. Thank you for not giving up on us. When Counselor Vex arrived at the power station, his angry expression had changed to one of amazement and respect. The energy readings are being reported across the planet, he said to Ben. Our scientists confirm that the core is fully functional again. How did you know this would work? I didn't know, Ben admitted. But sometimes you have to try something different when the old methods fail. Human engineers learn to think creatively when we don't have the best technology. Counselor Vex nodded slowly. Perhaps there is wisdom in thinking like a human. I apologize for doubting you, Ben Rodriguez. You have earned your place in our royal family. Later that day, Ben and Princess Kira walked through the palace gardens. The flowers seemed brighter now that the planet's energy was flowing properly again. What will you do now? Princess Kira asked. In a few months, the crystal rings will release you from our marriage bond. You could return to your cargo ship and go home. Ben looked at the ring on his finger, then at Princess Kira walking beside him. Over the past few days, he had grown to admire her intelligence, courage, and kindness. Saving Velthra had given him a sense of purpose he had never felt while delivering cargo. I've been thinking about that, Ben said. Maybe I don't want to leave. I like working with your scientists, and I think human engineering ideas could help Velthra develop new technologies. Besides, I'm starting to enjoy being married to a princess. Princess Kira smiled. And I am starting to enjoy being married to a human. Your people have gifts that our prophecies never predicted. Ben took her hand. Would you like to meet other humans? I could contact my home world and arrange for diplomatic relations between our peoples. I would like that very much, Princess Kira replied. Velthra could benefit from human creativity, and perhaps humans could learn from our crystal technology. As they walked back toward the palace, Ben realized that getting lost in a solar storm had been the best accident of his life. He had found a new home, important work, and maybe even love. The champion from the stars' prophecy had turned out to be real after all, just not in the way anyone had expected.